Hey, Orange One here. So in this episode, I wanted to show off the pros and cons of setting up in a city with a tiny house and using that as a way to set yourself up to be more successful with a base out getting your settlement set up anywhere in the map. So right now I'm in Stout, and I like to start off in the desert because I think it's a pretty easy place to start off compared to some other places. But if you go out and set up your base just like immediately after you've got like 10 people, you might be successful, but you'll be a lot more successful if you have some research done. But to do research, you need a research bench, and to get a research bench constructed, you either need to be already having a settlement with buildings, or you can buy a building in a city. So if you go into any city like this and you hold down Alt, you can see what businesses are around you, and you'll see these things that aren't businesses, these residential buildings. So if I'm clicking on these things, I can see what building these are. So I could go buy like a little shack, or even sleep in these homeless camps, which is not a half bad if you're just starting out. There's some general storage containers. Sometimes those can be like houses. But this right here, I could buy for 16,000. And I started recording this episode and then I didn't really like it and I didn't save beforehand. But this house I just bought for like 12,000. And so when you buy a house, to buy it, you would like click on the house and then hit for sale, and then you would hit yes. And after that, it looks exactly like this. It's completely empty on the inside and on the top. And what I like to do is just set up my research bench first and get a couple other things set up. But before I go into the research, I like having these houses for a number of reasons, not just research, but you can start crafting some armor and some weapons. You can set up some beds for some free healing. You can also have some training stations, some like training dummies to fight on and get your stats up. You can also, if you have some thievery that goes wrong, you can run in here and close the door, and the guards won't know where the person is if you're stealthed, and just have it as a little hideout. But anyway, so if you really want to make the most out of this, you gotta add some things, and the first thing I would add is a research bench. I've got a ton of things researched in this game, so I'm just kind of gonna tell you what you would research instead of actually researching it. So you can place items, and they've got the commands down here. So I can get this in the corner by rotating with arrow keys. And if I say I want it right there, that's a pretty good place for a research bench. So it's like out of the way of other things. But if you really want to get set up for a base, ultimately what you're going to want is like a research bench 2, which is going to take up more space. But that's right now, let's just build a small research bench because it will demonstrate what we need to do. So let's say we want to build that right there. And these guys are going to get on building it. And there's some materials I have, I think, on us and on the floor right there, so they're going to immediately start. Before we end the day though, I'd like to have Tuner go buy more stuff, because they're about to close for the night. Oh, they're about to close. Can I just, before they close, buy just like one more thing? They'll get mad at if you're in here too late, so I'm just gonna pause. Let's get their fabrics because we're gonna want a bed, and that requires fabrics. Ooh, can you buy from here? Yes, you can. Sweet. Okay, so Tuner's gonna come back with those cloths. And they should work on finishing this building up. Oh, we don't have the building materials. Oh. Huh. Why don't you drop this down for a minute? Oh, they've closed. Okay, well, I'll see you in a minute. I'm just gonna wait for the day to come back because we're gonna need it to be day to buy more goods. Alright, so it's day again, which means we should be able to get the materials that we need to get that bed set up. So let's see. Yeah, we needed like a couple more building materials, right? There we go. So we'll get that research bench going, so I can also just show off the basics with research and how you need to do that. So if I wanted to research something, most things require some materials, but some things are for free. Like this has 0 requirements. If you look down below, no requirements, or sometimes it says free. If I want to recruit or build something else, I'm gonna need some materials like books or engineering research for the higher level things. Early on, most of the stuff you need is just plain books. And I believe we have some books right here. Yeah, so you can buy those at that store, at mechanics store that we've been going to. If you have books in here, you can then say, hey, I want to research this technology. And I would recommend doing that as soon as possible so that you can get some really good stuff. I'll list these out now, but I'll also put them in the comments in the description of the video. But the techs that I would say are essential for base building are, first of all, having a bed so that you can get some healing done, having a small house so you can build houses like this and not like a little shack like that, because you're not going to be able to fit anything in there. Also, you're going to want iron plates because they're used in making all kinds of things down the road. Like for example, some of the stuff I'm going to build in here is going to need some iron plates, which you can get from iron if you have the iron plate technology. You're also going to want fuel generation or wind generation. And you're going to want, so that you can power some things around your base like lights and your smiths. You're going to want some crops for farming, so you can get some food. You're going to want some cooking. And I would set that up in the tiny house as well so that you can start producing some of your own food and save some money that way. Training dummies so that you can get your fighting skills up is always good. Getting leather armor researched so that you can start actually making some armor for your guys is always nice. And then also having basic weapons for the same reason. If you get that research, then you can craft some weapons. And if you have both of those things, it's really nice because you can start getting people trained in those skills, and then later on you can make specialist and masterwork armor for like free essentially, which then you can use to outfit your whole party of bandits or whatever you want to do. Also, you need makeshift walls so that you can actually wall off your base and have bandits only go through one entrance and then you just guard that one direction. And having item storage is just nice for general organization. So those are the research things that I think are essential. But what I think for having in the tiny home is, first of all, I want to have a bed. So let's go ahead and set up a bed in here. You can also get sleeping bags that you can buy in some stores. And then that I think is in the camping. So you can get a camp bed, and that if you have the materials you can build that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to build the bed for now. And I think we have the materials for that. We might not have the building material. Does Moo have the building material? No, he does not. Let's go get the building material, because we're going to need it. Having a bed in here, at least 1 or 2, is nice so that if people get really messed up, they can heal up. And then you can disassemble them and get some of the materials back. You won't get all of them back, but you'll get some stuff, which you can then use to set up wherever you end up setting up base. It's also nice to have just a backup option if you need it. And then let's just speed up a minute. So they should have enough fabrics to build this bed. The other things I would say are essential for me is that cooking station and the leather crafting. So I'll show you how to do that in the menu before we end this episode. We got a bed. I would say having a few of those is always a good idea. let's see. I was gonna do crafting. You can always do clothing. I prefer just getting straight into the tanning and the armor crafting. You're gonna need a fair amount of iron plates though for that. There we go. So I can get those set up. I don't have the iron plates needed for that though. I am gonna need quite a few iron plates. But you get the idea, you can go buy that from the store. And then having a, what was it, food? Yeah, food for having a cooking stove, which you will need to research. That opens up a lot of possibilities for you though. One of them being that you can make like dried cactus from cacti, which is nice for when you have a base set up and you start farming cacti, or if you're in a different biome you might be farming like rice or something else. And then yeah, you'll be, once the tanning bench is set up, we'll be able to tan the leather from garus that we just hunted. And once that's tanned, then you can craft armor with a little bit of fabric. And before you know it, you'll have like a masterwork armor smith, and that will help you a lot in defending your base. A lot of people think having high stats is all you need to defend a base. No, you need some decent gear, which at first is easier to make than to like get from people. I'm just gonna go all in with the iron plates. Maybe just drop that somewhere. So they should have iron plates. I want you guys to be crafting, actually, I'll tell you what to craft. Just so I can show off how it kind of works. This is pretty much automatic, so I'm not going to show that off. I would rather have the tanning station get made so that we can show that off. Alright, so I think I'm going to make a cut to this point. So basically I constructed this and got rid of the other one so that we could just get this made. If you want to make armor, you have to have some materials and that'll give you some output. So I think you have the trader's leathers by default, which is a half decent item, and you can get that repeating being crafted by selecting this right here. And then if you have those materials, they'll get put in automatically. And to get the leather, if you kill Garu, tan the leather with the tanning station, and it'll automatically get put in here, and you can make decent armor, which you can A, wear, or B, sell for a little bit of profit. And this is just the easiest way of getting decent armor. So yeah, if you got a leather armor crafting station, cooking station, some beds, and a research bench, I would say that's the essential components of one of these tiny homes. And then you can get all the research done that you need done. You can get some decent gear, you can heal up. It's got all the stuff that you really do in a base, just in a much smaller package. And then you can, when you go set up a base, have a good kickstart with your gear and the research, and just defend it and get some things constructed. So thank you for joining me. This has been Orange One.